The T79 comprises a base plate with load and friction force measuring systems. The fixed pin or ball sample is carried on a trunnion and gimbal mounted beam. This is counterbalanced to give a neutral balance and to bring the centre of gravity into the same plane as the contact. Load is applied by a linear stepper motor and spring with a force transducer for load measurement. The actuator can be used to lift and lower the pin or ball specimen in and out of contact. This allows tests to be run with programmed dwell times between load application and the start of motion. This dwell period is an important parameter in determining the starting friction when testing elastomeric contacts. The loading beam is restrained by a force transducer in a sliding link, which ensures that only the tangential component of force in the contact, the friction force, is measured. The test modules are mounted on actuator-driven linear slides, allowing plate or disc specimens to be indexed perpendicular to the direction of sliding. With the pin-on-disc module mounted on the base, tests can be run either with a fixed friction diameter or with the pin following a spiral track. The reciprocating assembly is for generating reciprocating motion. The assembly can be indexed sideways to produce multiple tracks on the same plate specimen, or, for example, a wear track following a rectangular path. The plate specimen carrier includes electrical heaters and a thermocouple for temperature control. To install and set up the machine, start by placing the base module on a solid surface with the control cabinet to the right of the module and the computer to the right of the cabinet. For this demonstration, we have the cabinet mounted back to front. Connect the indexing motor cable to the junction box on the machine and the other end of the cable to the appropriate socket on the cabinet. Do the same for the load motor cable and for the DC motor cable. Connect the load and friction transducers to the designated inputs on the cabinet. Connect the USB cable between the U-Slim socket on the back of the cabinet and the USB U-Slim port on the PC. Connect the indexing motor drive using the 9-way D connector on the back of the cabinet and the RS485 connection on the PC. Connect the power cable to the IEC socket on the cabinet. Plug in the emergency stop cable. To install the pin on disc module, place the module on the locating pins on the base plate. Secure the slide with the 4 cap head screws provided. You need to slide the carriage from one end of its travel to the other in order to expose 2 of the screws. But while doing this, make sure that you lift the home switch roller lever so it does not get bent on the detection screw. Slide the carriage towards the indexing motor. Wind the indexing motor lead screw so that it engages with the threaded hole on the block on the carriage, and secure the lead screw with the nut. Connect the motor cable and then connect the home switch cable to the back of the control cabinet. The test disc is secured in the bottom of the bath with a clamp ring. Place the disc in the bottom of the bath, the clamp ring on top, and secure with 3 cap head screws. Slide the pin specimen holder onto the shaft on the crossbeam and secure by tightening the grub screw. Insert the pin or ball carrier in the collet and screw on the clamping ring to secure. Lower the load arm into contact with the disc, release the grub screw on the side of the loading shaft and level the arm with the specimen in contact with the disc. Secure the arm by retightening the grub screw. Connect the loading spring to the load transducer. You may need to wind or unwind the linear actuator rod to remove slack in the loading mechanism. Secure the spring on the threaded extension by screwing on the knob provided. For comprehensive information on the Compen software, please watch the separate training video available on your installation or on our website. Switch on the cabinet by pressing the power switch on the front panel. The switch should now be illuminated. On the computer screen, double click on the Compen icon to start the software. There are 2 green boxes on the status bar indicating peripheral systems under the supervisory control of the Compen software. The USLIM box refers to the microcontroller-based control and data acquisition interface, and the box marked SCX indicates communication between the PC and the motor indexing drive. Green boxes indicate satisfactory communications have been established. If a box turns from green to white, that indicates the loss of two-way software communication between the front end and the device. If the box turns red, this indicates a hardware fault with the COM port or the associated interconnecting cables. It follows that for the machine to operate properly, both boxes must be green. Select File menu, then Load Setup, and select the appropriate configuration. Press the blue reset switch on the instrument panel. The machine status box on the screen changes from disabled to enabled. Before using the machine, the linear slide requires a home reference point. Press the up arrow next to the home box. The stage will motor to the right until the home position is detected. The indexing home switch status box on the screen changes from not homed to homed. With the specimens out of contact, adjust the zero friction potentiometer to zero the friction value shown on the screen. Repeat the process using the zero load potentiometer to zero the load value. To open a real-time graph, select the Graph menu and select Create Graph. The graph is displayed on the bottom of the screen. For more information on connecting channels and scaling graphs, please refer to the Compend training video and manual. The machine can either be run in manual mode using the toggle switches on the screen or under automatic control using a test sequence file. We'll now show you how to run the pin on disk test in automatic mode. Clicking on Test Sequence on the toolbar offers the user the choice of either creating a new test sequence or alternatively opening an existing test sequence file. The upper window on the right of the screen is used for stopping and starting the test and also for opening data files. The lower window is the test sequence itself, which can be viewed and edited. Clicking on Data File followed by Open Data File on the Control window menu opens the data file directory. Either select an existing file to be appended or overwritten, or create a new data file by entering a new name. Having checked that the machine is ready to run, press Start. A panel will appear allowing the operator to enter the required test parameters. Click OK and the test will start. The track radius is set, then the load applied and rotation started. At the end of the test, the motor is stopped and the load is removed. To remove the specimens, unscrew the load knob on the load cell and slide off the spring. Lift the load arm, unscrew the grub screw securing the pin holder to the arm and remove the holder from the arm. Unscrew and remove the chuck. Using the specimen extraction tool, push out the specimen from the holder. To run an indexing pin on disc test, select Spiral Test from the File menu. Fill in the parameters as before, which will now include the indexing speed. To remove the pin on disc adapter, start by disconnecting the motor and Hall effect sensor cables. Unscrew the load knob and slide off the spring. Lift the load beam. Using a spanner, release the screws securing the indexing motor lead screw from the carriage. Unwind the lead screw to free the carriage, and use an Allen key to unscrew the 4 screws securing the adapter to the base plate. When sliding the carriage, remember to lift the home switch with your finger. Disconnect the home switch cable from the back of the cabinet, lift and remove the adapter from the base plate. To fit the reciprocating module, place the module on the base plate on the locating pins. Secure the slide with the 4 cap head screws provided, and remember that when sliding the carriage to expose the screw holes, lift the home switch roller lever so it doesn't get bent. Slide the carriage to the right and wind the indexing motor lead screw to engage with the tapped hole on the carriage. Secure the lead screw with the nut. Connect the motor cable and on the back of the control cabinet connect the thermocouple, stroke sensor, heater and home switch cables. Place the specimen plate in the bottom of the bath and secure with the 4 cap head screws. Fit the pin or ball carrier in the collet as before. Lower and level the specimen arm. Connect the load spring. From the Compen File menu and Load Setup, select the reciprocating test configuration. Press the up arrow next to the home box to toggle the homing action. Unlike with the pin on disc module, the reciprocating configuration can only be run using a test sequence file. This is because the reciprocating motion is achieved by reversing the direction of rotation of the motor at the end of each stroke. This has to be a fully automated process. Open the reciprocating test sequence file. Open or create a new data file. Press Start and fill in the required test parameters. Specimens are removed in much the same way as with the pin on disc setup. To run an indexing pin-on-plate test, choose the square test sequence file. The pin, without load applied, is first moved to the starting index position. The load is applied and the plate is then moved in a reciprocating motion, completing one stroke, in other words a forwards and a reverse stroke. The load is then removed and the pin indexed by the increment set. The load is then reapplied and the indexing motion triggered. In addition to indexing reciprocating, the loop test sequence can be used to make the pin follow a rectangular path on the plate. If you have any questions about how to use your T79 multi-axis tribometer, please do contact Phoenix Tribology Limited.